Well, it's a betrayal of utterly massive proportions. This photo has been going viral, showing state fair cows are not always made entirely of butter. This comes from the Illinois State Fair, which ended last Sunday, and it got a lot of people saying, "I can't believe it's not butter." The website for the Illinois State Fair doesn't explicitly list all the elements used to make the butter cow, but it does say about 500 pounds of butter is used, and the whole thing weighs 800 pounds. The folks behind the Iowa State Fair do say that their cow is made using a frame of wood, metal, wire, and steel mesh. Then about 600 pounds of butter layered on top of that. Who knew? Who knew we'd have some debates around cows made of butter?
God bless America.
Love it. All right, still to come on your Friday, a first look at your weather. I'm going to pay attention this time, and today's top stories, all that just ahead.
What, we had weather already today?
I know, what?
Huh, I wasn't even paying attention.
Who's in today?
Anyway, next half hour.
Still to come on the Morning Report. President Trump turns himself in to police in Georgia. We'll have a closer look at the charges he's facing and what's next.
Yes, another round of rain, but I'm expecting some sunshine over the weekend.
It's already a rainy day, and it's been a rainy summer. I'll take a look at the numbers coming up.
It took a lot of time, but it wasn't all that difficult, and something that if you're just like one person, you can go out and do this pretty easily and have a major impact.
And later, two teams are using their summer here in Maine to raise awareness about the impact everyday trash has on our environment. I'll show you how coming up. This is the Morning Report.
Good Friday morning. I'm Hannah Kumler in for Sharon Rose.
And I'm Lee Goldberg, and here's a check of the weather with Todd. I'm hanging on every word as usual, Mr. G.
Another weekend closing in on us. Another sketchy weekend weather-wise. There will be some sunshine, though. I promise you that. There will be. Today, probably not. And right now, we're dealing with some rain across the area. And it's locally heavy. We've got this little burst coming through the greater Bangor area, down through the down east coastline. A lot of this is starting to shift to the east, but there could be some temporary drainage issues because of it. We look south. We also have rain here. Also on the heavy side near Freeport, Brunswick, and Bath, stretching back through Lewiston, Auburn, and on into the Oxford Hills. Low pressure off to our west will just creep through the region today, so it's going to be unsettled most of the time. And there's another low right behind it for the weekend, but this one isn't as strong and won't be that wet either. Just a few showers tomorrow, a chance for one on Sunday, so it does improve. This morning, steadiest of the rain begins to taper off to showers, but it's not like we dry out or anything. Midday, there are scattered showers out there. Some will be downpours, and when it's not pouring, it'll probably be misty or drizzly. And I don't expect any change through the late afternoon, early evening, or even into the overnight either. It's going to stay pretty damp and wet out there. That's what we have right now, rainy 62. A few downpours midday, drizzly too, 64. And same, as the kids say, mid-60s to wrap it up. Weekend improves, we'll get some sun. I'll have a timeline on your weekend coming up.
Already out of Georgia this morning after turning himself into authorities. All of this going back to charges related to an alleged scheme to overturn the 2020 election. The former president had until today to show up to the Fulton County Jail. Trump posted a $200,000 bond last night. He will have to follow special bond conditions as he waits for an arraignment and trial date. He's facing 13 charges, including racketeering as well as fraud. Now, one of those bond conditions bans him from intimidating witnesses or co-defendants in any social media posts. There have been some questions about whether or not Trump will automatically go to jail if he violates that bond. Prosecutors would first need to request a court hearing where the judge would consider any evidence and then make a decision. Legal experts do not expect that to happen, though, in this case.
There's almost no realistic scenario that Donald Trump's going to be put in pretrial detention for anything less than an extraordinarily egregious violation of his bond.
The former president is one of 19 people facing charges in this case. The district attorney in Fulton County, Georgia, says they're all required to turn themselves in by noon today. As of right now, there are 5 people who still have not surrendered. The district attorney would like to have all 19 people stand trial together, although that might not happen, with some of the defendants already waiving their rights to a speedy trial. Regardless, the DA is hoping to schedule an arraignment for the former president sometime after Labor Day.
Now to some other stories we're following closer to home. Family members have confirmed the body of missing lobsterman Tyler Mishu has been found. Tyler's mother, Valerie Kennedy, told the Portland Press-Herald that her son's body was found on Monday. She declined to comment any further. A lobsterman found Mishu's body near Addison. It was about 7 miles from Petit Manan Point, which is where Mishu's boat was found empty last month. The state medical examiner's office did an autopsy to identify him this week. And a bail hearing is scheduled today for a man getting a new murder trial. A judge released an order earlier this week saying that Mark Cardilli Jr. proved his attorneys failed to provide adequate legal representation. He was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison in August of 2020 for manslaughter. He was found guilty of killing 22-year-old Isahak Muse at the Cardilli's home in March of 2019. Well, Cardilli claimed that he shot Muse in self-defense. A date for a new trial has not been set. Today's hearing starts at 1 o'clock this afternoon. A woman from Maine is still in serious condition in Alabama after police say that her husband set her on fire earlier this month.
Yeah, family members say they'd like to raise awareness about domestic violence. We need to warn you that some of the pictures that you're going to be seeing here are certainly disturbing to look at. So just a heads up for you. Riley Willis, accused of using an accelerant to set his wife Anna and their apartment on fire. He is charged with domestic violence, assault, and arson. Anna is originally from Livermore, and up until recently, she was in a medically induced coma. Now, according to her sister, Christy, Anna has third-degree burns over half of her body. Christy says her sister's condition is slowly improving, but she definitely has a long road of recovery ahead of her. She says she'd like to raise awareness so this doesn't happen to anyone else.
See something, say something. It could be the smallest little, ill word. It could be that little push, shut up, telling someone to shut up, just being extra kind of volatile more than you have to be. If you see something, say something.
Now, if you or somebody you know is experiencing domestic abuse, there is help available to you. You can call the National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-7233.
We now know the names of the 2 people who were killed in a plane crash in Litchfield this week. Investigators determined that the flight was a training exercise. Kennebec County Sheriff's Office says that 69-year-old James Shepard Keegle of North Yarmouth was the instructor. The student has been identified as Jumaine Melville of St. Petersburg, Florida. Melville was 37. An investigator said that the pilots weren't in contact with air traffic control and that there wasn't a black box or flight data recorder on board. The flight left Auburn shortly after 5 o'clock on Tuesday night, and according to the FAA, it crashed on its way to the town of Wales about 30 minutes later.
The Wiggly Bridge Distillery has put forward a review of a study that was related to fungus in the nearby neighborhood. This happened at a planning board meeting in the town of York last night. Now, residents there have been pretty frustrated, saying they believe the business is to blame for the so-called whiskey fungus. A study by UMaine found a significant cluster of spores centered around that facility, but the business is still looking to expand with more barrel houses out there. No decision yet on the distillery's expansion was made, and the conversation will continue at a meeting next month, which will give board members a little more time to review the information that they were given.
Still to come this morning, today's the big day when the Sea Dogs take on a new name. We'll tell you more about the Clam Bakes game and get your morning stumper right ahead.
It may be the last day of camp for some kiddos out there of the summer, as schools, some do, start up next week. Umbrellas and hoodies for them most of the day. We'll have showers off and on throughout it. It'll be damp and wet when it isn't raining hard, and temps holding in the 60s. I do expect improvements, though, for the weekend. We'll get into them coming up soon.
Well, later today, the Portland Sea Dogs will take on a new identity. They'll still have Slugger, but they're also going to be the Clam Bakes in honor of the old New England tradition. The team will have specially designed uniforms. Fans can expect several clam-themed promotions. This is obviously not the first time the team has changed its name for a game or so. The Sea Dogs have also been the Bean Suppas, the Red Snappas, and the Whoopie Pies. Tonight's game starts at 6 o'clock. There are still tickets available. Prices vary, but they start at $11. All right, that brings us to our stumper. So obviously clams are a pretty important part of New England's culture, and that's what we will stick with for today's question.
That's right. So you probably have a certain picture in your head of like what a clam looks like, but they can actually get really, really big. So today we're asking, how heavy was the largest known clam? 10 pounds, 45 pounds, 550 pounds, or 1,200 pounds? This is making me feel kind of sick. We'll get the answer right after Todd's full forecast.
45 pounds maybe? But talking about clams, 2 teens in Arousik recently picked up 20 bags filled with trash from the Arousik Clam Flat. I'll explain what they did with all that trash coming up.
Also see showers.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
here's some inside baseball for you. She doesn't pay attention when he's doing the actual forecast.
Right.
But if there's
Yeah.
something that she needs to know about,
Right.
totally focus right now.
Called
Yeah.
working your connections.
I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah,
She's like,
I know.
so I am going to need that personal
You
forecast.
already called it earlier.
I did.
You forecasted.
I forecasted the personal
Also
forecast.
psychic. I was nervous to broach the subject, but I'm like, hey,
Crystal
Todd.
ball. What are we saying? Yep, it's coming. Personal forecast. They
Well,
happen
thanks
a
for
lot
that.
this time. Anytime.
Thank you.
Enjoy yourself.
Text them on the weekends.
Yeah, we'll be dodging drops, especially today. Not so much over the weekend, but there will still be a few lingering around. This morning, it's very wet. These showers arrived last night, and some of them are heavy. I'll take you into eastern Maine first because you see some yellows, oranges, and some reds that are just off the coastline. There could be a rumble of thunder off of Bar Harbor right now. Heaviest rain moving through Bangor at the moment. If you're about to hit the roads, there could be some drainage issues because of this heavy rain. Behind that little impulse is some lighter rainfall, so I think the storm drains will eventually catch up here. Down to the south and west, it's also raining, and there are some pockets of heavy rain. As we look into the mid-coast area, looks like in the Bath region, we're getting some heavier rain back to Brunswick, Durham, Lewiston, Poland, Mechanic Falls, on up into the Oxford Hills and some of the Lakes region too, dealing with some pockets of heavy rainfall. And it's going to be one of those days, not a complete washout, but you know, kind of like last Friday, there wasn't much dry time because of this area of low pressure. There's another one right behind it too that keeps it somewhat unsettled and gives us the chance for some additional showers this weekend. Rainy and wet early this morning with steady rain going to showers, but some of these showers will continue through the day and they could be on the heavier side, so downpour-like stuff. No sunshine, unfortunately, just about everywhere. Maybe a little bit over in New Hampshire, but I don't think Maine will see any. And during the end of the day, no change. Showery and or drizzly with temperatures holding in the 60s and a muggy breeze coming in off of the water. The front gets south of us tomorrow, so it will be better. I'd love to see this high, though, just work all the way in. It's not until Monday. So Monday we can pull showers out of the forecast. It should be a much better day with mostly sunny skies. Weekend timeline. Tomorrow morning we wake up socked in and there will be some pockets of heavy rain out there. However, we get to the middle of the day and the clouds are starting to burn off and we'll likely have a couple of hours of sunshine early in the afternoon, which will destabilize the atmosphere, and you can see some blips of green in here. And those are the scattered showers, downpours, and perhaps a rumble of thunder. Sunday morning we wake up, it's cloudy, it's foggy, but we should develop some sunshine and have partly sunny skies the rest of the day. Chance for a shower, especially for the hills and the mountains. The terrain will help induce a shower or two. Quickly to the tropics. This is Tropical Storm Franklin, winds 60 miles per hour. It is going to strengthen, though, through the weekend as it starts to move north. It'll go between Bermuda and the Outer Banks. Could be a Cat 2 as it swings by the mid-Atlantic and the northeast. Now, we won't see any wind from the storm, but we will get big waves and likely some rainfall middle of next week, too. Small crafts up today, seas 3 to 5, southeast wind 10 to 20 knots. Showers, downpours today. It's going to be a wet one. Bring umbrellas, 66. We get to the weekend. Tomorrow, a little sun in the afternoon, but also some scattered showers, mid-70s. And then Sunday's in the mid-70s as well, with partly sunny skies and that chance for an afternoon shower. Monday, mix of sun and clouds, 70s. Tuesday, increasing clouds. And then we see some tropical showers probably on Wednesday. The end of next week actually looks really sweet. It'll have that autumn feel, but it'll be dry, it'll be sunny, nice breeze too, something to look forward to. End of next week.
We had an amazing Memorial Day weekend, so we certainly should have an amazing Labor Day weekend. So
let's hope.
Remember during Memorial Day we said this would be the best part of our summer, and we were kidding.
And
it was the best part of the summer.
We happened to be correct.
Still remember that weekend.
Wow.
Oh, God, that was such a great 4-day stretch. But anyway.
Miss it. All right, thanks, Todd.
What do we got for a stumper?
Yeah, let's get to today's stumper. We asked, how heavy is the biggest known clam? Was it 10 pounds, 45 pounds, 550 pounds, or 1,200 pounds?
I say whatever Todd says.
Why?
Why?
This is right in your wheelhouse, man. This is
What do you
all
dig for clams in your spare time?
Something like that. Boy, I think it's probably pretty big. You made a funny comment about how this is kind of making you queasy.
Yeah, it's gross.
Because when you do think about a clam that's like 550 pounds, or what's the other one, 1,200 pounds, like
Kind of
that's
gross.
Yeah, kind of gross.
Disgusting.
All right, what are we picking, buddy?
I'm
It's
going to
either
go
C or D.
550.
I think I was going to go there too, 550.
Whatever he says. That's my guess.
Yes.
Wow.
All right, Hannah.
Never a doubt. See,
right.
I'm committed. That's right. According to Oceana, the biggest known clam specimen was over 4.5 feet long, 550 pounds. It was a giant clam, or tridacna. Most of the weight comes from the shell, not the meaty part, which makes it a little less gross.
I guess that does make me
but
feel a little better, but still.
yeah, it's just slimy and no, all set.
Yeah.
No, thank
Slurp?
you.
You don't want to slurp
Ew,
one of those
ew,
down?
ew.
I don't. Nope, I do love the Slurpee.
And on to the next
Slurpee is
subject.
a
I love the
different story.
Slurpee. Totally different. All right, well, hope you guys are enjoying your breakfast. Now to this. When you think of art, likely trash is not what first comes to mind.
Yeah, but for a pair of teenagers in Saginaw County, they want to change that, and they're using garbage that they found floating through the Kennebec River to do just that. Our Hannah Yeshivi is here to introduce us and tell us more about the project. Good morning, Hannah.
Good morning, Hannah and Lee. This video playing behind me shows the marsh area of South Squirrel Point by the Arousek Clam Flat. It's where a group of people, including 2 teenagers, collected bags and bags of trash and debris this summer. Ren Coffin Effinger and Charlie Ware have been best friends since they were 2 years old. They decided they wanted to do something meaningful together during their summer break. So they helped collect trash and ended up with 20 bags filled with bottles, tires, ropes, flip-flops, hard hats, and all sorts of plastics. Instead of bringing those bags to the dump, the teens found a different purpose for that trash: art. Now they hope everyone who sees this sculpture will think and act before littering.
To see that all of this is there, it's a relatively small marsh when you really look at it in comparison to everything else on the island, and to think that all of this is from such a small area and there's so much more out there that needs to be worked on. And yeah, it's pretty sad.
And it's sad because there was so much extra trash. Like this doesn't even capture like the amount that we found. There was more bags that we had collected too. And like Ren said, the area was small. Like there's much bigger marshes even nearby that we hadn't cleaned or anything. And the area that we cleaned, it was small, but it took a long time just to get this much.
If you would like to see the art sculpture for yourself, it's right outside the Arousik Town Office on Arousik Road. Hannah Yeshivi, News Center, Maine.
It's already starting off as a rainy Friday, but we have more rain on the way, and it's been a rainy summer. I'm going to take a look at all those numbers coming up right after the break.
Well, after a rather dry week in the weather department, the rain is back.
Yeah, meteorologist Aaron Myler is out in the elements this morning and has a look at current conditions and an outlook on how much rain we've had so far this summer. My guess is quite a bit. Hey, Aaron.
Hey, you guys, and yeah, we've had quite a bit so far. I think we've all known this has been a rainy summer, and today is no exception. I'm live in the Old Port right now where it's continuing outside. Not very heavy right now, just mainly a sprinkle, which a lot of people are seeing. But it's still been a rainy summer overall, and if we take a look at those numbers, you can see just that. Now, rain this summer, Portland, 15.38 inches. Augusta is above that at 16 1/4, and then Bangor about 14 1/2. We are all at least like 5 to 6 inches about above how much rain we should have already seen this summer. So that's June, July, and August that I have in here. Now, if we compare that to the rainiest summers we've had on record, you can see we're nowhere near the number one in 2009 of 22¼ inches. But after today, actually, as we end throughout this, we could get a little bit higher and probably going to crack into the top 10, probably getting eventually, we could possibly get into that number 8 spot there, beating out 1998. So it overall has been really rainy, and it's going to continue that way as we head through your day today. We're not looking at any major flooding and anything widespread, but there is the possibility of some localized flooding just here and there as you go through your day. So make sure you're not a victim of that. It doesn't happen to everybody. My car recently actually also got some water in it when I was outside. It just happened from where I was parked. So make sure you pay attention throughout your day here. Try to stay out of those areas that just generally always flood, because if you get some of the heavier rain, we could see everything rising a little bit. But yeah, been a rainy summer. We can see that, and that's going to kind of continue here as we go through your day and a few showers into your weekend like Todd was talking about earlier. Live in the Old Port, meteorologist Aaron Myler, News Center, Maine.
All right, straight ahead, there are still a lot of questions circulating after former President Trump surrendered to authorities out in Georgia. We'll have the latest on that situation coming up in our next half hour.
But before we get to that, there's nothing to quench your thirst. Like, why are we doing all these gross hot dog? Oscar Mayer seems to think the ballpark treat goes hand in hand with a cold beverage. We'll tell you about the hot dog straw. Oh boy, straight after this.
Here's something that I think will apply to most people. You're sitting there and you're like, okay, what would make this drink better? I got it. A hot dog straw.
Yes, such like a common thought.
Comes up all the time.
Yeah. Well, one guy did just that. He wanted to scratch that itch for everyone. And a whole year later, Oscar Mayer is making his dreams come true. A video went super viral last year showing a man drinking a beer at a baseball game through a hot dog. Horrifying? Yes. Creative? I guess. Now the company is selling a real hot dog straw for everyone to enjoy. Luckily for your taste buds, it's not really made of meat, thank goodness. Instead, it's a soft silicone that's just meant to look like a hot dog. The straws are available through a pre-sale, but they seem to be in high demand so far.
No way.
Yeah, listen, we know you ordered a few.
Who's buying that?
And Yeah, I guess.
Luke, you do not have a hot dog straw.
He doesn't have one yet. He's going to be on that wait list.
Okay, but you know what? That actually makes sense to me.
Yeah, I just can't with all the food we're talking about this morning. It's just grossing me out.
There's much more to come this morning. It'll be better, I promise. First, look at your weather day top stories just ahead.
Our next half hour starts right now.
Coming up on the Morning Report.
What has taken place here is a travesty of justice.
Former President Donald Trump surrenders himself to authorities in Georgia, and the historic moment could be a turning point when it comes to the 2024 election. We'll have the very latest on the charges against him and what comes next.
Also coming up, there are allegedly hundreds of properties in our state with illegal marijuana schemes operated by groups in China. We'll dive into how some of Maine's top politicians are hoping to put a stop to it.
And later, as more kids get ready to go back to school, some teachers in our state are getting an important reminder to take care of their own mental health. More from the special training session in Lewiston.
Another round of rain on the way, but there will be some sun over the weekend. This is the Friday Morning Report.
Good Friday morning, everybody. I'm Lee Goldberg.
And I'm Hannah Kumler. Go ahead, use that voice you're using. Talking about inside baseball. Lee's back here making baseball calls in this voice that I've never heard. I wish he'd share it with our viewers.
You gotta hear this.
Less is more.
Yeah, Leslie, yes, agreed. Good morning. Just kidding. Good morning, everybody. It's Friday, and once again, it's raining. Every Friday this month, it has rained. That's not a trend you like. And this is the last Friday of the month, so let's just get to September Fridays, right? We have some rain, and it's locally heavy, too. I'll take you into eastern Maine first. This is where it's heaviest. We have some yellows, oranges, and some reds just off the coastline. There may be some thunder out there. And some of this has been heavy, so drainage issues are a possibility if you hit the roads early on this morning. We go back to the south and west. There are some heavier showers in here, too. Portland just had one come through. Lewiston's getting drenched right now, and there's more off to the north and west. So it's going to be one of those kind of days. Low pressure slowly moving through the northeast. Keeps us socked in, and that threat for a downpour going all day long. Tomorrow, another low works in for the weekend, but it's not as strong, it's not as wet, and we will have vast improvements over the weekend, too. We'll get to that in a few minutes. This morning, steadier rain goes to showers, wet all morning long for your drive. Midday, scattered showers and downpours. When it's not raining, like visibly raining, it's probably drizzly. And we're not going to be seeing any sunshine at all today. Unless you're over in New Hampshire, you could get a little bit. A wet, rainy start, 62. Few downpours or drizzle, midday 64. And more of the same this afternoon and evening, with temperatures holding in the 60s. We will warm up a little bit this weekend, and we will see some sun each weekend day. I'll have details coming up.
All right, thanks, Todd. Former President Donald Trump is now facing a total of 91 charges from 4 separate indictments. He surrendered last night in Georgia, where he's accused of trying to overturn the 2020 presidential election results in that state. Now, Trump faces 13 charges in Georgia alone, including racketeering and fraud. He is one of 19 people charged in this case. The defendants all have until noon today to surrender. So far, all but 5 of them have done so. The former president posted a picture of his mugshot on social media saying, quote, "Election interference, never surrender," end quote. As he prepared to leave Georgia, he insisted that he did nothing wrong.
We did nothing wrong at all, and we have every right, every single right, to challenge an election that we think is dishonest, that we think is very dishonest. So thank you all very much, and I'll see you very soon. Thank you very much.
The former president posted a $200,000 bond. The district attorney in Fulton County, Georgia, wants to hold an arraignment after Labor Day and a trial in March. Official dates, though, have not been set. Back here in Maine, Representative Shelley Pingree posted on social media saying, "No one is above the law, no one." Her post goes on to criticize the Republican Party, where Trump is still the front runner for the presidential election. Pingree says that holding Trump and his allies accountable is a step in the right direction. The rest of Maine's congressional delegation has yet to comment on the latest indictment.